talk to one of our beautiful clients that we've got to partner with at the Authors Leverage. And I'm really excited to share and have a conversation not only about his book, but also about his course and to really give you all that are listening in and tuning in today an idea of not only the process and sort of what his experience has been through writing his book and publishing his course, but also what his course is really meaning for people today and why it's there, why it exists, as well as how it can be aligned to really help a lot of business owners who are small business owners who want to go from 5 and 6 figures to 7 and 8 figures. And so I'm so proud and so honored that we had the opportunity to partner together. And so let me introduce you to Curtis L. Jenkins. Curtis is an award-winning project management professional, keynote speaker, Forbes contributor, and philanthropist. He's an innovative business advisor who focuses on servicing small to mid-sized companies. He specializes in enabling client strategies, growth, and concentrating on the company, on the vision, the business strategy alignment, culture, operations, and key projects. His approach is based on his trademarked realization framework experience. And it's such a powerful framework. Also, I just want to say that because even for us in our business, we've been able to utilize components of it to really grow as we've been developing. So, but his new book, Vision to Reality, Stop Working, Start Living, details his approach and serves as a guide to business leaders who want to grow their companies and their businesses from 7 to 8 figures. Curtis's career spans 20 years plus as a project management executive in mergers and acquisitions, global information technology projects, Lean, Six Sigma, and management consulting in many industries. So I am so pleased, so honored, so happy Curtis is with us today. Curtis, welcome to the Authors Leverage.
Thank you, Parshell, and thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here because you have such a wonderful platform for entrepreneurs. And so I'm hoping that your audience is appreciative of what you bring to not just to authors, but to anybody that wants to be an entrepreneur and or an author, write their book and get something out of it, right? To meet their mission. And I'll add, I like to talk to businesses and say, look, if you are already making $1 million, you can make upwards of 25 to $30 million in a year or less. And however, if I told you if you could do that, but you didn't have any time for your family, you'd be stressed out and your marriage is on the rocks. You wouldn't want to do that. But if I told you that you could do that and you could have you can work less, you can take more vacation, and you can spend more time with your family, you would want to do that, wouldn't you? So that's what we're going to talk about here today. And I'm hoping that I can share my story with my book on how I help small business owners to make more money, have more time, and to get more support to stop working and start living. So, you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All
Let's
right.
dive in.
All right. Talk to me. What you got?
Yes, I thought you were about to roll with something else. I was ready for you. Well, let's talk about the book because I know that this is the foundation. It's really a labor of love. You and I have been working together for several months now, probably close to a year,
Yep.
and I've got to learn so much from you and really feel your heart and the reason for putting out your book and putting out this work. So, share a little bit about what inspired this. What problems have you been seeing that inspired you to pick up a pen and start writing?
Yep. So I've had the good fortune of having friends and family members that had their own businesses. And they would come to me all the time talking about the problems that they were having. But the number one thing they kept telling me was that they needed more cash. And I would ask some questions like, well, okay, how much cash do you need? And I'd either get an arbitrary number or they wouldn't know. What they wanted me to do was work with them on that. Then I'd say, okay, if you got that cash, or as a friend of mine used to say to me, if I stroked you a check today, what would you do with it? And how would it help you grow your business? And so, again, crickets, head scratching. I don't know what I'm going to do. And then the number one thing after that is I don't want to give up control of my company. So I asked, well, what are you willing to give up? And so it's not being able to answer those questions, but thinking that you want cash. I started asking, let me look into it. And so, taking my experience in working with large companies, understanding strategy, understanding how to tie money and people into turning something real, being a project management professional, I would understand that they had some serious issues around the key areas of my realization framework experience, which is 5 steps: visualize, evaluate, calculate, clarify, and realize. Didn't have a compelling vision that they were sharing with people to understand. So people didn't understand their certain futures. They didn't evaluate the people, have the right skill levels, have the right skills in the right places uh, as employees or team members or anybody in a business ecosystem. They didn't understand cash flow. They were not speaking the language that business leaders talk about. When you ask people about their business, most people will tell you about their sales or their revenues. But if I ask them if they're profitable or ask about gross margin or EBITDA, again, head scratching. And if you can't speak the language of finances, you are not going to raise any money. The next item is clarify around having a plan. Not having a plan to me is ludicrous. It's just a dream, and you don't have any direction. Your people certainly don't have a direction, and you don't have a budget to go with it. So all these disparate things that need to come together, they're not happening. And then the last part is realize, which is how are we measuring? Because you can't fix what you don't measure. And then how are you holding yourself as a business leader accountable, right? So I preach about having small business advisory boards. So that's what the book is about. It's centered on my vision to reality, or my realization framework experience. And the book is in 3 parts. It's what leads smart CEOs astray, and that's that psychological part that I talked about earlier. Then it's the remedies, which is the meat of the book. And then finally, it's how to keep from backsliding. And that's where the realization part comes in, is how do you put in actions and measures in place to keep you from going back to your same old habits? So that's what the book is about. That's why I write it. I was excited about it. I was excited to help my friends. And then I started helping a bunch of people, and I had a formula for doing it. So I was able to speed up the the ability to have a company scale up just like a large company. And the processes are simplified, easy to follow. And I got excited about sharing that, the framework, the stories, everything that goes along with it. So that's what jazzed me up about writing the book and getting it out to people.
Yeah, and of course, we were blessed to read it and be a part of that experience as well. And and you're right, you've really presented it in such a simple to follow format, which of course translates well into a course. But back to it being a simple process, right? When we think of 7 and 8 figures, for a lot of people, it's a fear of success, a fear of not being able to be at that type of position and to hold on to it, or to actually have that work for you. But the key thing is your subtitle to your book, which is to stop working and start living. Why, why was that important for you in naming the book and having that to be on the front of the book as a subtitle?
That came from the fact that what I noticed, again, with family and friends and then with clients, is that they've gotten to this churn of living what I call payroll to payroll. And when people came to me and asked me about, raising capital or needing more funds, what they really wanted was enough money that they felt like they could make payroll, and then they can run around and deal with all the other issues, and didn't realize that they were all interrelated. And so it's basically about creating systems, habits, delegation, all those things that allow you to come out of the business working in a day to day operation and start thinking more strategically and working on the business. And that'll give you more time. In fact, you probably need more time. I mean, I don't know, for me, a lot of times when I come up with new ideas, it's because it's when I'm on vacation. It's not when I'm working. It's when I'm just kind of laid back and I'm relaxed and I'm thinking, you know, this will be a good idea. And then I come back and, think about it a little bit more, drive it, share it with some people, and then implement it. But when you're in a day-to-day grind, you can't think strategically. You can't get out of it. And so I want to give the gift to small business owners, the gift of time. And that gift of time for their families is invaluable because you can't get it back. And so if you can make your day easier, but you can still accomplish more, you would want that. So that's where stop working, start living. And I use, I didn't create all these things on my own. I think about Tim Ferriss, right, who wrote the 4 Hour Work Week. And that's when I learned the concept of using virtual assistants. But it goes beyond that, right? It is, how do you build an engine and an ecosystem that allows you to be more free of your time, so that and your business is growing. If you're happier and you're healthier, you got better health. Your friends, your community, your family, everybody's going to be much more happier being around you. And actually, it elevates your status as well. So that's what I want to do. I want people to stop working so hard, putting out all these fires, and just start living.
It's so important, like you said, and when you're on that side of it and not
Yeah.
working and being so in it, and you're on it, like you said, you're actually able to see solutions. You're able to, get ideas more quickly and more easily. Now, talk to us a little bit too about who specifically this book and this course is for.
Yeah. So I would tell you, this book and this course is for the, I would say, business that's been in business more than 5 years. So you're past the startup phase and all the statistics around why businesses fail. This is more about businesses trying to scale, trying to grow. And I have a number of conversations. I mean, you can see a little bit of salt on my beard. So when I'm talking about dealing with my family and friends, people are now thinking more about legacy. And so you've already you got a good customer base, so to speak, but you're churning. You can't get past a certain plateau, and but you keep thinking about how you're going to turn this business over and get that life you really wanted, turn it over to your children. So this book is for you that has the belief that all you need is more money. This book is for you that has the belief that there is a dream company that you want to mirror. You just don't know how to get there. This book is for you if, and one of my clients, if you just had a baby and you can't afford to keep running around, and now you got to get smarter working on your business and not in the business, but you don't want to lose that business. So it is for that person that has these beliefs, that they can do everything on their own, which they can't. You hear me say, and you heard me say this in my videos, business is a team sport, right? And the more you let other people do things, the more time you'll get. So this is for that person that wants to make a difference in their own lives. They want to actually meet the dream that they had for their business. And let me tell you, so one of the things that I've seen is, okay, I've made it now. My business is $5 million. Then the next question I asked was, how much are you paying yourself? I'm lucky if I pay myself at all. I tapped out my bank account. I'm using my personal money. I didn't tapped out with family and friends. That's why I'm looking for money. That ain't how you run a business. A business, your business needs to be paying you, right? So that you can afford those vacations. So if you are in this space, we need to talk, right? And I encourage anybody that's in that space that's trying to figure it out, just book a 30-minute call with me, because I may be able to give you a roadmap just with that call for free would change your life, right? And then we can decide if we want to do anything more. But yeah, I mean, it makes no sense to have sales revenues of over $1 million and you're not even bringing home any take home pay. You might as well get a job.
You know what? You're right about that. You're right about that. I mean, you definitely want to, really take this into account, right? And go back to the reasons why you started the business in the first place. It likely
That's right.
wasn't to do that anyway.
That's
But
right.
we lose sight of that, which I love that you included that in your book and in the course itself is just this area of backsliding. The
Yeah.
areas where we fall back into, I would say, a point of just forgetting. Like we forgot what this was all about. We lose sight of that. And so I just love that that was also incorporated into the book, and I think it translates well, of course, into the course, because that's where we can get into action. We can build out some of these tools and build out some of the necessary, assets that are going to be with you in your business to help you organize that and to structure it.
Yeah. I mean, preventing backsliding is real important because look, if you ever worked in big corporations, or if you're a small corporation and you've hired a coach or you've hired a consultant and they gave you a formula, you executed the formula, you may or may not have gotten the results. And then, you're back to where you were. Part of it is because you haven't developed the muscles to stay at the new place that you are. And so there's this quote: people don't decide their futures, they decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures. And so just like when we try to lose weight, we we join the gym in January, we're done with the gym in March, and and then we go through the year and then we make another promise in December. And so why I focus on backsliding is putting in measures. So the measures will help you have a visual around seeing where you are with leading and lagging indicators. The advisory board makes you accountable to a person or group of people. Just like a large company with a CEO, they have a board of directors. You should have a board of advisors. And so and with me, when I work with my clients, it's not a one and done. I work with them deeply. That's why I don't take on as many clients, so that we can use this time over a year to work together and then come up with strategies. And every strategy is not going to work. Market conditions are going to change, things like that. But it is how you make the adjustments. It's how you learn to make those adjustments. It's how you organize your team and your finances and stay on top of that. And all of a sudden, guess what? You're a business owner, not just somebody who created another job for themselves.
Exactly, exactly. And action is so important. As you said, the habits are what decide your future and where you're going. So in creating this course, I feel like you created a condition for them to be successful in that, right? Because it's not just about reading the book, but they actually have something in play to work from. So can you speak to why having the course as a companion to your book, why that was important for you, and also what can someone expect and benefit from going through the course as well?
Yep. So the course was my way. So first I wrote the book, right? And you can read the book because look, I wanted to touch 1,000 small businesses a year. That's my goal. I want to make an impact. There's so many small businesses. It makes up for 99% of the private workforce, right? So if you want to make an impact, help a small business thrive. So right away, I just wanted to make an impact. So there's the book. And we all got different learning styles. And it's one thing to just read a book. But then, okay, if you're not reading the book and you're not working directly with me because you either don't know me or just haven't gotten around to it, then there's the in between, which elevates the book, but I'm not quite there, but I am there. I am there in the videos. I'm giving you the examples. I'm giving you the exercises. And why are we doing exercises? To build muscles. In this case, it's business muscles. And I'm taking you through all the tools and techniques that I use with companies that I work with. Now, each company's strategy is going to be different. And the way that I ask questions in the course is to help you find your trail, your voice, and it allows you to navigate through your business, not just, taking Parcel's business and then putting in somebody else's business. It's not the same. And so I wanted the course to be there when I couldn't be there, as a supplement to help small business owners be successful, because that is my goal.
Absolutely. And it is a dynamite course. And I'm not just saying that because we supported in getting it done, but it really is something. I think, in fact, when we were initially laying out this, I mean, it was something that mimicked what I had seen through other MBA programs, or even on a Goldman Sachs level of that type of education. And for anyone listening or interested, that's the quality of information that is going to be gained in this course and in this experience. So I'm just so pleased that it worked out that way. So for those that are listening in, maybe if they're an author and interested in going this route, can you talk into a little bit of your experience of creating the course from the book?
I am so glad you asked me that, because if you didn't, I was just going to go out and tell everybody, look. Uh, so, first of all, I guess I mean, I don't have a structured way to answer this question. So I'm just going to talk from the heart and my experience, right? So, first, I knew I wanted an online course. I just didn't know how to go about it. And then meeting with you guys, you helped me with the structure right away. You outlined the course, and all of a sudden I felt like, wow, somebody gets me. They understand what I'm trying to achieve. And then you and I went back and forth with the process until we basically scripted it out. The second part is I live in the Northeast and you are in sunny San Diego, California. So basically, coming down to film the course was like a vacation. And it was an awesome experience. The places you had me at, the views, your crew, amazing, right? So we had such a good time just going through it. And I just felt more and more empowered around, yes, this is going to reach my audience. This is going to make people are going to, but they're going to feel me because of how you guys helped me through that entire process. And then, you know, and then and I just didn't do this just because I said, "Hey, this is what I want to do." It came through referral, right? And so my trusted advisor referred me after they did the course, so they had a major, tremendous experience. If I were an author, new author, I'd be thinking about this right now. I'd put your name right down, and I just book a call with you immediately, because I would want my course to be online. A lot of times we talk about our books. The first thing we talk about after we publish the written book is maybe doing the audio book, which is also somewhere, I'm looking to do that. But I think the online course has much more power with the visuals. And you didn't just create the overall course for me. In between were the marketing snippets that I have been using in my social media, ongoing and ongoing, and all I get is so many accolades, and not just in the form of likes. I get phone calls. Hey, Curtis, that was great. So in addition to that, my experience was so good, Parshell. You probably remember this. Um, I provided you and your team what I call a tip, and 20. I added 20% to the cost of what you guys were doing, because I thought that it was so valuable than what you were giving me, that the return on that would be so fast. I wouldn't even I wouldn't even know that it was there. So that was my way of saying to you and your team, this is incredible what you do. You're going to change the world with it. And I think any author that's listening to this, jump on it right now.
Man, that means so much to hear you say those words. And I have to echo it back. It's a partnership, and that's the way we see it as well. And you and your expertise and what you brought to the project also made it what it was. And so it's truly been an honor just to do that with you. and to see this come to life, because it really is phenomenal, phenomenal work. And I think a really transformative experience for any business owner who's looking to grow and scale. Um, and to even and to hear it from someone who, of course, has experienced the success. They're in these circles, they know this world, and they also represent a group of people that you wouldn't usually see uh, in this seat too. And that's not what it's about necessarily, but it's just something to acknowledge as well, and to really feel pride, if you will, in a sense of like, this information being out there, and with someone who has a heart and a genuine desire to help people. So I want to acknowledge that and appreciate you back, because we've learned a lot and we're continuing to learn. And um, I think we're going to be friends for a long time. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. In fact, how many people have I've actually worked with from you? So there was Majid with the
Hmm.
expert speaker course, right? There was Stephanie, who you introduced me to.
Hmm.
And then there was Joan Herman from
Oh,
Change
yeah.
Your Attitude, Change Your Life. She was the
Yeah.
first person you introduced me to.
Yes. Yes.
And so
And I
she helped to market a lot of the stuff that you created for me.
It's beautiful. And I love that as well. The author's leverage is, it's a network, it's a community that's being built, to where any author that comes in through our doors, we have support on every end of the spectrum for you. If you're struggling to write your book, we have resources in place for those authors. And even after your course, your product is together, right? There's other avenues, there's other things that are necessary to keep the conversation going. You never want to stop talking about it. You never want to um, just go off into a closet, go on vacation, never come back, right? You want to still be in conversation about your book, about your topic, and really how you want to help people. So I really, really appreciate that. Curtis, as we wrap up, this has been such a good conversation. Would you also share any last parting words of advice that you will have for those that are tuning in?
Yeah. So what I would say, well, I kind of already said they need to
Yeah.
check you out. But I'm going to tell people, if they want this experience, if they want to have their business scaled, they're tired of just in the trap of just running around without results. Go to my website, www.cljassoc.com. And what I want you to do when you get there is I want you to take my visionaire scorecard, and that will allow you to see where you are on the realization framework experience spectrum. That's the 5 steps: visualize, evaluate, calculate, clarify, and realize. And then I want you to go to work with me and book a 30-minute call. The call is free, and we can, build out a roadmap. I can build you a roadmap just from 30 minutes to show how you can scale your business. If you're 5 figures, going to 6 figures, and seven, I'm sorry, if you're 6 figures, going to 7 figures, because if you're 5 figures, you're typically a little too small for what I'm doing right now. But if you are 6 and 7 figures and you want to go to 7 and 8 figures, you are the right person that we need to talk. And I'll help you build out, just a pathway to get there. And you can choose to just take that and run with it, or we can have another conversation about working together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love and highly recommend and stand behind that. You should definitely go to connect with Curtis if you're in that seat, and anything of what he has shared sounded like, you know what, I think I need that. I think that might be helpful and supportive to me. Curtis is definitely, definitely, definitely your guy. And one other thing that I'll say is, well, first of all, everything that is linked, including a link to Curtis's course, is going to be below this episode. So please be sure to check that out and to book a call with Curtis. And again, Curtis, I just want to acknowledge you. I mean, it's just been such a pleasure and an honor knowing you and getting to know you and seeing you grow and see all the things that you set out as your vision come to reality. And it's just beautiful to see. And I would love for you to also to share. I ask this question to all of our guests that come on, which is, what is your one word? There's one word that comes from Curtis to the world that represents really all the things that you want to share and contribute to to the world, to the planet? What would that one word be?
There'd be action.
Mm,
Every day we're faced with choices. And one of the biggest choices we make is we don't do anything. And we make that choice a lot. But if we decide to do something, just one little thing. You've heard about the butterfly effect, right? A butterfly
mhm.
flaps its wings in one side of the country and a tsunami in another or other world. Take action. Do something.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Curtis, for being here, sharing your wisdom, letting us know more about your course and what went into it, and for your kind words about the author's leverage as well. It's always a pleasure. And it's funny you bring up our production team, which you got to meet. We actually call ourselves Bacon.
Bacon?
That's our nickname. I think it was after your shoot. We said, you know what? Something smells good. Something's cooking up in here. so we started nicknaming ourselves Bacon
Well, you
after
know
after
everything goes good with bacon.
that's what I said. Any topic, right?
That's
Any
right.
subject of that's going to support and bring value to people. You put a little bacon on it, see where it
All
goes.
right. All right. I love
Yes.
it.
Yes. Well, thank you again. And thank you for those that have tuned into this conversation today. I hope that you found it valuable and really that you're inspired too. I mean, I think that's really what we're about. We want to inspire people like you, like ourselves, into action because that's really where the difference is made. So thanks again for tuning in and for being a part of this conversation. We'll see you next time.